afternoon. The Information Technology and General Services Committee will now come to order. We have 2 items on the agenda. We'll hear those items in the order that they appear on the agenda. As well, those of you who are new to this process, if you'd like to speak on behalf of any of these items or make a general public comment, please fill out a card that you can find out on that table in the back. Give it to the young lady on my left, and she will forward them to me, and at the appropriate time on each item, we'll open it up for public comment and for general public comment at the end of the meeting. We will begin with item number 1.
Item number 1 are reports from the Environmental Affairs Department relative to accepting and expending grant funds for the Alternative Fuel Infrastructure Program and for Alternative Fuel Solid Resources roll-off vehicles.
Good afternoon. I'm Gretchen Hardison with the Environmental Affairs Department, and to my right are...
I'm Steve Hillman with General Services.
Renee V. Augustine with General Services.
This council item is actually a combination of 2 reports requesting authority to accept and expend grant funds from the Mobile Source Air Pollution Reduction and Review Committee. The first is a $100,000 rebate for the purchase of 2 liquefied natural gas roll-off trucks, which are currently in use at Lopez Canyon Landfill by the Bureau of Sanitation. The second is $1.75 million in awards for the installation of CNG fueling infrastructure at 5 different city yards. The Environmental Affairs Department worked with Bureau of Sanitation and General Services Department to submit these grant applications, and we're completing the process to go through City Council approval, and then the operating departments will take over the grant contracts. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have specific to the grant process or to any of the fueling stations or the roll-off trucks.
Okay. Any questions? No. Okay. I don't have any questions at this time. We did see it in the Environment Committee, Energy and Environment Committee. With that, is there anybody here to make public comment on item number 1? Item number 1, public comment is open. Seeing and hearing none, public comment on item number 1 is now closed. With that, there's a motion to approve this item. Okay, this item's approved 2-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We now move to item number 2.
Item number 2 is a joint report from the Information Technology Agency and the Department of General Services in response to a motion, Rosendahl Cardenas, relative to various actions related to reducing the city's paper consumption.
Good afternoon, Roger Fernandez from ITA.
Gerald St. Ange from General Services.
We're here in front of you to respond to you and give you a status report on several activities that we have done in order to reduce paper consumption by the city. On September 25th of 2007, as you might recall, the ITGS committee instructed the ITA to coordinate and assist all city departments to set all their network printers, photocopy machines, and multifunction printing devices to print and copy double-sided as a default. On October 16, 2007, the ITA sent an interdepartmental memo to all city departments except airports, harbor, and water and power, informing them of the council mandate to print and copy multi-pages as double-sided by default. We attached the instructions to do so, and also we posted those instructions in our website. Also in October 2007, the Department of General Services started a citywide deployment of approximately 1,600 new replacement copy machines. In addition to being energy efficient, these machines also function as scanners, fax machines, and network printers. These functions can be performed through the desktop computers, resulting in decreased paper consumption. As these machines are deployed, they're defaulted to print double-sided. So basically, and also ITA taking the lead, they also went and reviewed all the reports that we print through the mainframe, and I'm really proud to report that so far we have reduced a total of 100 million lines of paper that would have been printed. Now we're giving the ability for departments to review and view those reports online.
Wow, excellent, wonderful. So it looks like we're making progress.
Yes.
Okay. Is there going to get? How is it, or when will we be able to get estimates of how much paper we're actually saving with these new double-sided printing and other innovative ways in which we're getting our city employees to be accustomed to saving paper?
Sure. For that, I'm going to refer to GSD. I believe they began tracking paper consumption.
That's correct. We are able to produce reports on paper consumption by department. Being that this project was put in place in December, it's still going to take some time for us to actually see the benefit of the reduced paper consumption, but we are prepared to produce an annual report by department on what the reduction has been.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that we talked about last time, or at least I mentioned, is, for example, if we're saving paper, now, for example, where maybe a department was accustomed to printing on only one side of paper, so they print out a report of 100 pages and have to make 12 copies, so that's 1,200 pages, basically. Now, that same project is 600 pages, literally in half. That being the case, we were accustomed to spending the kind of money that it takes to buy 1,200 pieces of paper multiplied by umpteen thousand activities in the city. That being the case, are we going to be able to buy higher paper content paper with that cost savings?
Yeah, we have looked at that, and it seems like right now for instance, going to 100% recycled content, it's roughly about 30% more in cost. So we're hoping that we're going to achieve that at least over a year's period of reduction, and definitely look into applying that savings towards the 100% recycled content.
Now, are we comfortable and confident that with these faster machines, these more, I would imagine they become somewhat sensitive as well, 100% recycled paper is good enough quality when it comes to the stability of that paper when it comes to feeding through our machines? Is that an issue at all?
No, there has been a study done, and they've concluded that there's no problems with the
No
machine,
measurable
except-
difference?
Correct.
So no depreciation in performance when it comes to our big, fast machines being
Correct.
able to...
And the company of the copiers is also has told us that they will accept 100% recycled content paper with no problems.
Okay, great. Now, is it possible for us to buy in bulk, or are we already doing that where 100% recycled paper, when we get to that point, are we able to get the cost down a little bit more because we buy so much?
It depends on the using departments, on how they purchase. The contract is set up for multiple quantities overall as the contract, but the individual using departments are responsible for ordering what they consume. And it is structured in the way that if they order so many cases, there is a price
Breakpoint.
Breakpoint, yes.
How do we make sure the departments don't go back into old bad habits, like printing on one side instead of two-sided? We're going to do spot
Monthly
checks,
reminders.
we're
I
going
would
to show
say
up one
monthly-
day, we're going to repel through the window and push the copy button and see what happens. What mechanisms do we have today? What mechanisms could we instill tomorrow just to make sure that people don't roll back to old habits?
Right now, as for the Information Technology Agency, we don't have any mechanisms, just it's a constant education, constant reminder to, whenever we have a chance, we will go out and check. Like one of the things that we did also, we went out to all the offices of the elected officials, and we defaulted all the network printers to print double-sided. So what we will continue to do is continue checking on those things.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to make sure that we do have some kind of mechanism. Again, I don't think it needs to be something punitive or anything like that. But we need to make sure that everybody gets online and they don't fall into bad habits, because the last thing we need is to be bleeding out, 30% non-efficiency for no good reason, other than somebody just doesn't like to print their stuff on both sides. Obviously, if somebody has a specialized responsibility and printing on both sides of the paper makes no sense for the ultimate objective of those projects, then we need to respect that. But if people just say, well, I just don't like it, we need to make sure that those people get in line and stay in line. So, Roger, I guess IT, between you and General Services, maybe you can figure out a way in which, whether it's commending departments for their reductions or what have you, reminding people that these are the things that we do on a daily basis that have got us there. Please remember to do so. It's kind of like telling people turn off the lights when you leave a room. You know what I'm saying? Some people just don't do it. But it's a bad habit not to. And everybody needs to learn how to do that. And
Sure,
stay with it.
we would be more than glad to continue working with GSD. The other thing that I could think of is probably setting goals. This is the first year that we're going to be tracking and monitoring how much paper is being consumed by departments. Then probably from there on, we could go ahead and start setting goals for departments to keep it below that and go even lower and lower and lower.
Now, are we going to be able to have on an annual basis, either through our budgeting cycle or what have you, are we going to be able to recognize the actual amount of sheeted paper that we didn't use in a fiscal year versus the previous fiscal year and the previous fiscal year? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, obviously, we don't know exactly how much, but by and large, are we getting an overall reduction of X based on the fact that say a department in 2001 ended up consuming 2 million pieces of paper, and then we roll the clock forward after doing this. Hopefully, that department. Granted, the workload is always different year to year, but the bottom line is we've seen a reduction based on these best practice habits.
Well, we know what the departments have ordered through the contract, so we can definitely compare what they have ordered and what they are ordering in the future.
I figured there might be a gross simple way in which to do that, and that's probably it.
Correct.
To be able to, are we going to be able to track that? Are we going to punch it into some computer so it spit it out at the end of the year? Or does somebody have to manually go in there and pull that information?
Well, we could query the contract to see what the usage is by department and the line item.
Mm-hmm.
But we could pull that information up.
Okay. Might take a little bit of programming or something, but that would be good to know, because again, that would be a tool should we have success and we are able to honestly tell people, my gosh, the city of Los Angeles used up 50 million pieces of paper in 2007, and here we are in 2010, a busier city, we have more employees, we have more constituents, et cetera, but all of a sudden we've gone down to 40 million. I mean, that's something to be proud of. That's a lot of trees, or that's a lot of whatever it is they're making paper out of today, tomorrow. Okay? Right. Any other questions?
No, I would just want to check. I remember when we started the computer age, and everybody said we're going to save a ton of paper, and I think if we go back over the last 10 years or so, we probably have purchased more file cabinets and paper with computers than we ever perceived. And one of the thoughts at one time was that to get away from paper, we were going to be sending, when you send it up through different levels, you'd be sending the disk itself as opposed to paper. And I don't know where it got off track, but I don't know, or whether it ever caught on, but it was this thing of whether you have 2 or 3 operations in the same building, and each time they send it up a level, they all have to keep their copy. They all, some of them are within feet of each other or just behind the door. Have we gone back and looked at some of the things? Because I suspect that, as we're looking to cut back, whether there's spikes of why we continue to increase. I know we decentralized and we have more employees working in isolated locations, but have we gone back and looked at how this has grown?
Well, no, to speak a little bit about that, no, I believe having to follow up the skid might be a little troublesome. Mm-hmm. We have in ITA, we have implemented, and we're in the process of implementing several systems that will assist on that. A good example of that will be the Documentum project, document tracking system that would allow you to go ahead, multiple users be able to share a document and get certain levels of approval before releasing a document. So something like that, it will be a little more efficient than probably doing a diskette or a CD or something like that. But yes, we're continuing to looking at those kind of citywide solutions to implement to make us more efficient. But the one that I could think of, top of my head, is the document project.
So that would be where the originator of the project would send it electronically and get sign-offs as it went through?
Exactly. Let's say that is the clerical creates a document, a memo, and that person needs 2 or 3 levels of approval within that system. They will be able to do so without having to print the document.
The one thing you said I was unclear on, when we install all of these new printers, they will automatically...
No, we had to go out and
Had to
set
go out
them.
and do
Defaulted, yeah.
Now, the issue is that probably scratches the surface as the number of printers we have?
And yeah, and this is only network printers because right now the standalone, the personal printers don't have the ability to do double-sided. Most of them, they don't have the ability to
So
do
the network, that's where they generally are centrally located, where many people in the office use them?
use it. Uh-huh.
Does this number turn out all of those, or is this just a portion of it?
It's just a portion. Yeah.
The game plan is new network computers come in, they'll all be
Defaulted.
Programmed.
Our staff will go ahead and default all those to print double-sided.
Now, what about those that are not eligible to be replaced at this time, but they're network computers?
With the personal printers, as you could see, right now, the lifespan of a computer or printer is roughly about 5 years. And what we're beginning to see right now, due to the budget crisis, there's not really a need to have any more personal printers, to have only on those special occasions when there's a legitimate need to have your own personal printers. But we're continuing to push for network, shared resources, one printer, many users.
So that's also going in place at the same time we're talking about double-sided, so we're saving on the equipment side also.
Yes.
Now, if a department or an office orders something for installation, is it that ITA sets those standards to say only network printers and not personal printers?
Yes. Right now we have a working meeting with all the executives, IT for all the departments in the city, and that's where we're setting all these standards.
And then I think Mr. Cardenas asked, as you go forward, I know we can count the number of reams of paper we don't purchase, but would we have any other way of determining the cost saving other than that we would reflect that we're ordering less?
Yeah, that's the...
Yeah, right now, that would be the only means of figuring that out, correct.
Thank you.
Well, also, my staff just reminded me that ITA had to come out. We have our new printers in our office, copiers. And ITA had to come out numerous times, and apparently one of the identified problems that was conveyed to my staff about paper jams is the 30% content, recycled content paper. Are we, being that we have all these new machines in our offices, are we looking at those issues? What are we doing when it comes to feedback on making sure that those that equipment is in fact working properly, or if it's working up to snuff or what have you?
This is for the copy machines, right?
Copy machines.
Yes. Probably GSE, did you guys, when you guys established, I'm pretty sure you did, when you established your contract for these copy machines, did you look at the quality of paper that we were able to run through those copiers?
The vendor assured us that it will accept the recycled content paper. If he's having problems, any problems that arise from that, we would definitely look into it and meet with the vendor to make sure that there's no problems with the machines.
Okay. You may want to meet with the whoever's coming out to respond to offices on those. Double check, make sure we're not having a rash of problems, and people are assuming they're isolated when they're not. that would be a bigger problem. But hopefully it is an isolated situation. But, these machines are so easy to use. You pop the ream of paper in, you close the door, and it works. But when it comes to multiple paper jams, then obviously something isn't fitting right, or
Yeah.
something isn't
And
working.
again, just to say something about those machines, that's the newer technology. Now we're dealing with one piece of equipment that does multiple things: fax, scan, email, photocopy. And as that has been new to the city. So as we're deploying this technology, we're building our expertise on those machines. So eventually, we should be able to have to only come at once and fix everything.
Okay. Let's try to figure out if that's an isolated incident or if there's maybe a problem either, again, with the actual material being fed into the machines, or if the machines themselves may have some.
No,
kind
I
of-
believe that's an isolated problem. I believe that I've been asking my staff on report status on the deployment, and there have been little issues, different issues, but they have been because of the lack of knowledge that we had about these machines.
Well, maybe you can have some kind of seminar for my staff.
All right. We'll do a training class. All right.
All right. Any other questions? No. Okay. Anybody here to speak on item number 2? Item number 2, public comment is open on item number 2. Seeing and hearing none, public comment on item number 2 is now closed. With that, we'll note and file this report.
Thank you.
Item number 3.
Items number 3 through 7 are reports from the Department of General Services relative to lease agreements.
Good afternoon, Chuck Rubin, General Services. Item number 3 is a request for a new lease with the CRA as tenant in San Pedro Municipal Building. This is a good use of currently raw space and will generate some income for the city. CRA is creating a regional office to house up to 8 permanent staff, and it will generate about $56,000 a year in rent.
Okay. So the tenant improvements are going to be picked up by CRA?
Correct.
Okay. It's a 5-year lease, $150 a square foot. I don't think that existed anymore. Okay. Any questions? No. No. Okay. We're on item number 3. Public comment is open now on item number 3. Is there anybody here to make public comment on item number 3? Seeing and hearing none, public comment on item number 3 is now closed. With that, it is the vote of this committee on a 2-0 vote to approve. Item number 4.
Item number 4 is a new lease for a food service business called O Salad, which is salad by the pound. It's a gourmet salad fast food bar offering a large selection of salads, soups, and sandwiches in the LA Mall. The tenant is responsible for all tenant improvements, and this should generate approximately $17,000 a year in income for the city.
Okay. And we have all the appropriate clauses, 30 days, all those matters that we discussed before?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Any questions? No. Okay. Seeing no more questions from the committee, public comment on item number 4 is now open. Is there anybody here to make public comment on item number 4? Seeing and hearing none, public comment is now closed on item number 4. With that, we have a vote on the 2-0 to recommend approval.
Item number 5 is a new lease with the CIBSA, All City Employees Benefits Service Association, for a second suite in the LA Mall to improve their customer service to city employees. Again, the tenant will be responsible for all tenant improvements, and this will generate approximately $30,000 a year in rental income for the city.
Okay. All right. Again, all the appropriate clauses in that contract, right?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Is there anybody here to make public comment on item number 5? Public comment on item number 5 is now open. Seeing and hearing none, public comment on item number 5 are now closed. Okay, the motion is to approve item number 5. This item is approved on a 2-0 vote. Item number 6.
This is an assignment of lease of the pastry place, Space 8, in the LA Mall from one owner to another. The business is being sold, and it requires approval of the assignment of lease by the city. There's no impact to the general fund.
No name change on the door or anything like that?
No.
So just under new management?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. No questions from the committee. Public comment on item number 6 is now open. Is there anybody here to make public comment on item number 6? Seeing and hearing none. Public comment on item number 6 is now closed. With that, we have a motion to approve item number 6. That passes on a 2-0 vote. Item number 7.
Item number 7 is a rent credit for Giuliano's during the period when GSD construction forces completed fire life safety requirements on the first floor of City Hall East. This was around the Christmas period, and the rent credit was to be for up to 10 days.
So what's the total? So it is the full 10 days?
No, it was a total of 9 days.
Okay. So 9 times 1,400?
Correct.
Okay. So just so that the public understands, now, that credit isn't a rent credit so much as the cost of the rent. That rent credit is a loss of business factor,
Correct.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because if we're charging people $1,400 a day, let's all move out of the building and rent out our space. Okay, so, all right, just wanted to clarify. So
Yes.
it's basically a
Correct.
loss of use.
Loss of use.
Factor, and it came out. to
And related
$1,400.
expenses, yes.
Okay, all right. Well, I know small business owners, hopefully they took advantage of going on vacation or something, and enjoying the time off, because it's hard to take days off when you own your own little business. Okay, any more questions? Okay. We're on item number 7. Public comment is now open on item number 7. Is there anybody here to speak on item number 7? No? Seeing and hearing none, public comment on item number 7 is now closed. With that, there's a motion to approve item number 7. That item is approved on a 2-0 vote. We now move to item number 8.
Thank you.
Item number 8 is a report from the Information Technology Agency relative to Verizon Communications application to amend its state video TV franchise.
Good afternoon, council members and staff. William Imperial, ITA. Verizon was originally granted a cable TV state franchise by the California Public Utilities Commission on March 8, 2007, to serve portions of the city and council districts 11, Rosendahl, and 15, Hahn. Verizon filed an amended state franchise application to the PUC on November 16, 2007, requesting that it be permitted to serve the rest of Verizon's telephonic footprint in council districts 2, Gruel, 5, Weiss, 6, Cardenas, 7, Alarcon, 11, Rosendahl, and 12, Smith. On December 19, 2007, the California Public Utilities Commission issued an amended cable TV state franchise to Verizon.
So, Verizon went to the state to get their franchise?
Yes, they did that last year. They were one of the first to be granted a state franchise.
And a few years ago, wouldn't they have come to the city?
Yes, that's true.
So now they don't come to us for a franchise?
Not anymore, not any of the cable TV operators under new state law. They've all opted into the new state franchising system.
So we're just here talking about what happened?
Yes,
We're not approving what will happen?
that's correct. We do retain the 3 overall regulatory matters that we've had under our belt under state franchising involving the collection of the 5% franchise fee and the right to deal with the PIG access issues that are coming up, and also deal with the consumer service issues subject to a 50-50 split with the state in regard to collecting any penalties for consumer service issues and
And
penalties.
who
that the city
imposes those
imposes.
penalties? Us or the state?
The city does.
City has the right to impose penalties?
That's correct.
But do we have the right to enforce those penalties?
Yes, we do. Subject to the 50-50 split with the state on the collection of the penalties.
Now, Now, the franchise fee, right here it says Verizon must pay the city a 5% gross revenue franchise fee and a 1% gross revenue PEG access fee. Those fees will remain steady over the coming years, or is there any adjustments to that?
Well, we anticipate a slight adjustment to the 5% franchise fee. The 1% PEG access franchise fee is new, but the 5% is something that we've looked at very, very carefully, and we're waiting to see how that's going to pan out when we do our audits because of the new gross revenue definition that the state has imposed on local entities.
Okay. And when it comes to PEG access channels, did anybody pay attention to where those channels may end up on the whole spectrum when people are flipping through on their TV, their channels?
The new state...
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, the new state law requires, in the city's opinion, and the city attorney's opinion as well, ITA has looked at it, it's our opinion that they must provide the same channel location. So, for example, 35 remains on 35, 36 remains on 36. That's our position. Verizon has not disputed that. We're working with them to interconnect those channels in the city. They tell us that they are going to have that done with Time Warner by the end of this quarter. We have a meeting with them at the end of the month. When I say we, ITA and Time Warner and Verizon will be meeting to make sure that that happens. With regard to AT&T, there is an issue that we'll be discussing with your office tomorrow to let you know what we have found out and what the city would like to do on that.
Okay. Please keep this committee apprised of that.
We intend to, and we'll inform you tomorrow fully of what the situation is right now at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions?
Let me ask you on the side issue that deals with the whole issue of cable. We just pulled an article off the Wall Street Journal that talks about 2009, there'll be no broadcast for television that is analog, it will all go to digital. And that affects our residents more so than you going through cable. Is there any plan for ITA to get involved with any training or education so that people are aware of that occurring?
You are talking about the digital transition that people who have rabbit ears or their antenna system that they're utilizing for over-the-air broadcasting. Well, rabbit ears or,
Whatever mechanism they do to get
right.
airwaves instead of...
or your kid holding a hanger while you hang onto the wire. Yes, I recall that when I was growing
Now,
up.
all joking aside, now, what
We have...
Parks is talking about is there are still constituents that may not have point-to-point receiving signal. Point-to-point meaning that's what cable is. As crazy as it sounds in this modern time, you get cable because that little round thing doesn't have an interruption in space. It goes all the way from where the signal's coming in or wherever it's being picked up all the way into your home. Yet, if you don't have that system, you're not on a digital system, correct? If you have what the old-fashioned antenna sticking out of the back of the TV.
Yes, and you both bring up an excellent point that ITA has been looking at, the Video Services Regulatory Division has been looking at that. We have on our website, on ITA's cable website, we have the link, the internet link to the DTV transition site that the FCC has posted so that our residents can download the form that they need in order to get 2 analog to digital converter box coupons that are worth $40 each. It's a major issue for those that do not have cable, do not have satellite, and receive their signal over the air, as you just explained, Councilman Cardenas. We are very concerned about that. It's an issue for those that can't afford or do not have cable TV or satellite. They will not be affected on February 19th of next year when the transition occurs. So we do have that link, and we are providing information to anybody that calls ITA through the 311 center. Also has that information, by the way, so that we can help our residents in case they ask. And it is a concern, and we are involved to the extent that we provide information. Since it's a federal issue and the city has no authority over that whole issuance of the coupons and the filing of the...
Federal coupons?
Yes, they are. They're federal coupons. And there's been a slowdown in the amount of people that have applied, and there's still a lot of coupons left, by the way, as of last week.
I'm wondering is that we've relied so heavily on the website, but if you don't have access to your computer, the likelihood you're probably one of the people that have analog TV.
We are providing an 888 number, a toll-free number that the FCC has given us. If you call 311, they will give you that number.
If there's other abilities such as Channel 35, whether there's other ability in our libraries and public buildings to where people can either be directed to the website or given information that this 209 date is what, a year away from us.
We can begin to work on that if you'd like. We haven't been engaged in that deep of an involvement because it involves,
I realize it's a federal deal, but we would seem to be getting the phone calls when it occurs. And so I'm just trying to figure out whether there's a way to educate people of the next year.
We can participate in that if you'd like.
Whether it's something business licenses something to where we can find a way to get the information out through our business license, the companies that apply for them, or if it's on Channel 35, or city buildings, a variety of ways that we can direct people into your website for further information. Or something like that.
Let me take this back to ITA's management and talk with Channel 35 as well to see what we could do. There is a video that Channel 35 could run. I'm not aware that they're running it right now, but I know that we are trying to do as much as we can. We can use our Consumer Services Division to start doing the outreach if you'd like.
I would hope that the federal government, since these are their coupons, I think one of the first group of folks that will have a percentage of them that are on analog receivership in their television is, I hope, Social Security Department is putting some kind of little note in there saying, if you got the old-fashioned rabbit ears on your TV, you're entitled to this $40 coupon. Call this number or what have you to get it. In addition to that, to our lowest income communities, for example, families that are on Section 8 or what have you, again, federal program, these are federal coupons. I'm hoping that they're actually putting some kind of big fat notice in whatever correspondence they have with those constituents as well. I think that would be a pretty decent cross-section of those individuals who are going to need this coupon.
Very good. We'll do that. We'll do that. Thank you.
Okay. All right, with that, anybody here to speak on item number 8? Doesn't appear to be anybody.
Sorry. Just let me correct the record. It's February 17th, 2009.
2009.
February, not the 19th.
February 17th,
Yes.
2009.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. With that, public comment on item number 8 is now open. Seeing and hearing none, it's now closed. With that, we'll note and file item number 8. Is anybody here to speak on general public comment to this committee? Seeing and hearing none, general public comment is open, and it is now closed. With that, this committee is now adjourned. Thank you.